Alright, this is the third descent of Dimensions 11. This entire video is 20 minutes long, so I might as well just speed up and just point some things out so you guys don't get bored to death, probably. So it's a 4-part fight. The first part is against 2 Diabolos. This bug thing here. The second fight is against the Rafflesia. The third fight is against 2 death cases, and the last fight is Atlas. I will link all the boss descriptions from the database down below, probably. So yeah, the team I'm using here is max LB Ramza, max LB Snow, and the 0 LB Penelo. The song of choice, Diabolos. So with his most recent ultimate, at level 30, Diabolos just increases everyone's initial brave by 30%. So you can see here that Penelo is at 12k, Snow is at 9k, and Ramza with some regens is up to 13k. So that's a pretty hefty amount of I'm Brave. Why I chose to do this? All of them actually skills of I'm Brave, like even Snow has an I'm Brave regen attached to his skill 1, and you'll see later. So the Diabolos fight, it's not really that tricky. The thing with the Diabolos is that they cast Confuse. If you get confused, of course you can't move. Well, you can move freely, so that's why I chose to use an Evasion team. Oh, another thing is that they dispel, which is kind of annoying for Ramza, but it's not too much of a big deal. Any time now, they will start doing the confuse move, maybe. Oh, I did also mention that Ramza is also pretty good with his MLBX plus. This team is a lot of returns and a lot of HP pluses, not a lot of direct shaving. That attack is just a self-buff, it's not really that important. Afterwards, it's targeting all. So once targeting all, it will do AoE Confuse, and towards the later half of the fight, the AoE Confuse will also pair with a HP attack. Or sometimes it just dispels you, which is also annoying, but it's better than a Confuse though. The good thing is that on a single target, these Diabolos does not do Break plus HP, so you can technically do this without tank, but they hit pretty hard on their normal Brave attack, so you better be careful with that. So reason why I did not use triple break plus there is like, okay, if I break this, I know he will follow with a brave plus HP attack, so I want to keep the party batteried. So if I break here, Ramza's next turn is here. Ramza's EX at max LB also refunds himself some bravery, so that can prevent full party break. Yeah. So that's the AoE Confuse. Luckily it's not a guaranteed confuse, so you might have to deplete the RNG here. But see, Snow's already at max brave, so it doesn't matter what happens later. He will of course follow with HP plus, which is one way to mitigate that confuse. So Another way you can deal with it is probably with, of course, debuff evasion proper. So like Leno, or I think probably Selfie should work fine too, but you just have to deal. But Selfie does not have any brave shape, so you have to be a bit careful with that. And of course, you can try to push it off. So the second fight is Rafflesia. The thing with Rafflesia is that it has, yep, this attack. It inflicts poison, it inflicts sap, it inflicts an HP poison. So yeah. It takes out 3 debuff slots, so you probably either want to push them off or just debuff evasion them. But aside from that, this fight is not too interesting, so I'm just gonna accelerate it even more. This is pretty much just spamming HP++, EX when ready, and whatnot. Also here you can see that without HP regen, Snow is actually kinda hurting for HP sometimes. If using Ramza and Penelo together, you have to be wary of like the debuffs and the order that you apply buffs. The fact that Snow's only source of self-heal is with his skill 2, outside his additional ability, can be tricky if you don't have an external healer. On a single target, it's not really that the damage output from his EX is not exactly worth spending a turn, because I can like spend no turn and get like 40k HP damage, or spend a turn to get like a 70k or almost 80k from his EX. But when the timing to use his EX, I feel is like, okay, here the buff duration, the first buff, it's kind of low, so EX extends by 2 turns. And then my own brave is kinda low, so I need some extra damage anyways. But actually I made a mistake in the narration. The debuff that was running low was not the skill 1 but rather the skill 2 debuff. I mean the skill 2 buff stacks. Sometimes you should have to click it and check, because like if you have a lot of debuffs, like the attack and the brave regen may be pushed off, so you can't really see which one is which. Just click and hold and learn Japanese, basically. Alright, and this should kill. Alright, let's go back to 1.5x speed. So this is the twin death gaze. This is not particularly interesting of a fight. It's just a double boss. Their brave attacks, they will follow up with HP attack if they reach a certain threshold of their max brave. But with the tank, it shouldn't matter too much. This was kind of scary because like, yeah, so I used additional ability to buy a turn to get a little bit of regen. Penelo is not in regen stance, that's a little bit of misplay on my part. And then Frostblow heals back up a little bit. The real scary thing about this boss is when they show up in Autonesia. That was annoying. 。 But here, there's really not much to it. Penelo is only at 0 LB, so her EX is not doing any healing. But it doesn't really matter too much. When they target all, it's AoE Brave Attack, which inflicts 2 debuffs. Poison and Max Breakdown. It's only 3 turns, so you can either just like decide to push them off, or just deal with them. Like the debuffs from here on, they aren't really crippling. So the debuffs in the first 2 fights are kind of annoying, like if you don't deal with them, but here you can just like live through them. It doesn't cripple you, unlike a Confuse or HP Poison. So against 2 bosses, because Triple Break Triple Plus has 80% smash, so it's actually quite worth it to spend the turn and get like 120k total damage out instead of like taking a free turn to do like 40-50k at max. So I mentioned it before that Snow's overflow on his skill 2 and HP plus is the same. So unless you need some extra shaping and self-heal, or you just want more EX recast in general, it's fine to just use HP plus. And now like I'm kind of running low on skills, so I'm just like resorting to HP plus for the majority of the fight. Because I still have to deal with the Atlas, and I want some on-demand healing. Right, one thing to be able to like learn with using Ramza effectively is like just gauge his EX recast. So on the previous turn, this EX recast is about here, and his shout buff, skill 1 buff, is 2 turns remaining. Just using HP plus is not enough to entirely fill his gauge. But if you use the HP plus here, and then use a shout on the next turn, like so after using the HP plus, his EX gauge will probably fill to about here. So using shout on that turn with low brave to begin with is not really that worth it, and you also overshoot the EX gauge, so in a sense it's sort of a waste. So here I just decided I have some base brave, I have like 25k, I can cap with a shout, well, near cap, and then I have EX on the next turn, which will extend my shout back to what, like 9-10 turns? Which also works nicely here, because this thing just used the AoE Brave Attack to put poison up. The skill 2 buff is only at 2 turns, so after this I will be able to use skill 2, push some debuffs off, refreshing the stacks, and also charge the EX gauge a little bit more. Usually on other characters I tend to use the EX skill ASAP as soon as they're charged, but Ramza is an exception because his HP plus is a free turn. For some reason during the recording the music did not come up at all. Okay, so here's another reason why I chose to summon here. Because the main thing is only his Brave Plus and HP Plus are free turns. So in Summon, you don't want to be using them too much, because it kind of wastes the free turns you get in summon, in a sense. So when you are using his regular skills, if you don't want to spend a turn on them, just go and summon probably. Well, here's like inevitable. Right, again, I want to be able to save some healing for Snow, so I didn't go with the Frostbow skill 2. The other thing is because like it's not going to do damage anyways. Right here, there's only one turn remaining on the top of the last. Oh my god, why is it so loud outside? Anyways, the Atlas. GL people probably have fought this a few times now. The first raid event there coming up. So the first thing he does is a AoE debuff, which is kind of annoying because I just used skill 2 on Ramza and they all got pushed off. So I'm just like pushing the debuffs back off, but these debuffs aren't really crippling. You can just live with them without too much trouble. Now all the debuffs are pushed off. And in this team, Ramza doesn't really need to maintain his buffs too much because Penelo is actually providing a lot of additional regen. So basically every turn is like you start with like near max brave anyways. But it also means like this kind of team, it's not really interactive. You just press HP plus when they're ready. So that's the main danger of the Atlas, is the AoE attacks and target all attacks after the first one. It'll be AoE Brave plus HP. And they hurt. And that was like 22k damage spread between 3, and that's with still not taking any damage at all. So if you get broken by this, he gets like the thing with Chaos is that if you get broken, the enemy of a single target gets like 7700. Yeah, 7700 Brave. So it shoots them to a pretty lethal amount of HP. I mean Brave to be able to one-shot you. Here I chose not to use EX immediately because the EX is going to fill her Brave some more, which means like a lot of this is kind of wasted. The single target attacks though aren't really that threatening. So here I have to be a little bit careful because the boss is targeting all, and I want Snow to be healed up a little bit better. Like, because otherwise, like if we look at the recast here, here it's a overshooting to use skill 2 to charge. HP plus will be able to charge it fully by the next turn, but I don't want to have Snow fall too low in terms of HP. Especially because Penelo does not have healing on her EX yet. And here I am taking a break, so this is gonna be a lot of damage. Thankfully Snow's able to reduce some of them to a non-lethal level. Just get some extra healing back up. At this point, like, I'm basically winning the fight already, but I need to buy a few turns to heal back up, or otherwise I might lose the HP damage requirement and have to redo this 20-minute fight again. Oh god. So yeah, that's the fight. So that was not my first recording. I did this fight when it came out last night. I don't want to record it because it's the first fight and who knows how long it'll take. Probably took a little bit more breaks and slightly more turns because of RNG with the confuse and whatnot. Overall, you get the idea. This stage is not that overwhelmingly difficult. Like, I think it's one of the slightly easier for Descent of Dimension stages comparatively. 10 was actually kind of brutal, and so was like 9 and 8. This one was fairly manageable. Like, I'm even convinced that you don't necessarily need a tank here. A tank is always nice, but you don't necessarily need one here because they don't have a ton of Rafflesia HP attacks. You might need some extra HP damage mitigation though, and debuff evasion definitely helps a lot, especially in the first two fights. You definitely need a lot of healing also. Like, that's just the state of chaos fights. Yeah, just pull for tanks and healers. That's the name of the game here. Of course, you actually need attackers to actually deal damage to. Some alternate approaches. Leno's obviously very good for this. Jack is very good also. Like, there are recent characters that are basically aimed to be able to clear this fight. Cypher is probably gonna do well here too, but I'm not gonna go back again since, like, doing a 20-minute fight is kind of annoying. Anyways, that's the fight. Also, did I mention that this entire fight is resistant to magic? So if you want to use magic characters, bring Imperils and whatnot. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. The video is 28 minutes long. I mean, not 28 minutes long, 20 minutes and 28 seconds long. The commentary has been going on for 22 minutes. Okay, it's not too bad, I suppose.